Hey everybody, it's Eric from the Mature Minded Gamers Group. We are a group of adult gamers who have jobs and lives, but also several passions, including board gaming, video gaming, and much more. You can check out all of our content on our website, maturemindedgamers.com. Hey everybody, it's Eric from the Mature Minded Gamers, and today we're covering Star Trek Picard, Episode 5, Stardust City Rag. I have my standard crew, Will and Brad, with me today.
Engage. Make it so.
This episode starts out a little bit different than most Star Trek episodes. We get a very gruesome scene with Icheb having his implants removed, which appears to not be under any kind of sedation. He is obviously in a bunch of pain. It shows us that it was 13 years ago on a planet called Vergessen, which I had never heard of. Right after he has his eye very gruesomely removed, we get 7 of 9 coming in and rescuing him. But a couple things to pull from this scene is, number one, Icheb is still wearing his Starfleet uniform, and he also has 2 pips, which puts him at the rank of lieutenant, which if you watch Voyager, you would know that he wanted to be in Starfleet. And so it looks like he was successful with that mission. But what I found interesting was 7 of 9 was obviously in a like a rogue unit. She wasn't in any kind of Starfleet uniform at that point. So we kind of get an idea that 7 of 9 did not stay with Starfleet, and Icheb for some reason decided he was going to. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And the other part was when 7 has to basically mercy kill him. She calls him my son. So obviously they kept a pretty good relationship, which they definitely created there on Voyager. What do you guys think of the scene?
Gruesome. I mean, it's hard to watch, honestly. It's kind of got attached to Icheb in the previous show, and I guess I had higher hopes for what he was going to be able to do or what he was going to do in Starfleet. So this was tough to watch.
I have no idea who Icheb is, so it didn't really bother me that he died because I didn't even know what was going on.
The other thing in the scene was when the lady who's basically pulling out all the tech from Icheb asked where the cortical implant is, like she's looking for it. And people who have watched Voyager probably remember the episode that was in season 6 called Imperfection, where 7 of 9's device is malfunctioning, and basically she's going to die, and they try using someone else's from a dead Borg, and it doesn't work. And Icheb ends up being able to sustain himself without it against everybody's wishes. He goes ahead and improves it by turning it off, and so they're forced to take it out of him and put it in 7 to save her life, and he survives. So that's why he's missing that, which is a nice little callback, I think. I like that.
And it was subtle enough that if you weren't into Voyager, then you didn't miss anything.
Right. All right, and the next scene we get is our first glimpse of Free Cloud. We finally get to meet Bruce Maddox and a new character named Bezazzle, along with someone they call a Beta Anarian. It reminded me of like a super reptoid, almost like an alligator type of humanoid. He apparently has a lot of notoriety in the galaxy because whenever they talk about him on the bridge, Rios and them, they say like, oh no, they have one of these. So they're like very exclusive bodyguards is kind of what I took it as. And we also get Bruce Maddox is basically there. He's meeting Bezazzle there and says, I've been in hiding because the Tal Shiar came and basically dissolved my research lab. And he is in debt to her of some sort. And I'm wondering if it was a money debt or perhaps he had borrowed some Borg technology from her that she's been salvaging to complete Daj and Soji. What do you guys think?
A possibility. I think it's probably more money and resources than it is anything like Borg technology. So that's just my thought.
So next up, we get a scene with Picard and 7 in the Holosuite Chateau, and we find out that 7 has joined the Fenrish Rangers, who are kind of like mercenary people who take law into their own hands, and basically it seemed like they tried to do right, but they didn't actually follow any kind of rules or laws. You can tell Picard is a kind of against it, but Seven pleads a pretty good case, and I feel like they both kind of come out and they understand where each other's position is. Did this surprise any of you guys about her being a ranger? Or?
I don't know that it surprises me so much. I mean, the lead up they had with what happened with Icheb, I suppose, probably sent her down this path. I can see where she did not jive with everything that Starfleet wanted when she got back. I bet that they wanted to put her through a lot more testing and exercise, things that she wouldn't have wanted to have been a part of, for the purpose of being able to disable the Borg, that probably drove her away from Starfleet and into the hands of this other group, I guess. I guess I wasn't so much surprised that she was doing it. She had Janeway's sort of moral compass of always doing right, even when right was hard, and almost kind of the same, mentality that Eleanor has, which they sort of adopted the lost cause sort of thing. So, her hunting down the people that were hunting down Borg, I think probably plays well into that and gives her the ability to be a lot more scary, and her vengeance to be a little bit more real, I guess, if that's what she's hunting down. You can definitely tell that she's evolved to see more of her humanity, or to act more act out of her humanity a lot more than when she was a Borg, or even when she was a recovering drone during Voyager. So I'm kind of pleased to see that. Otherwise, it was just kind of fun to see her be, I don't know, more free and open to do what she wanted to do and to show some emotion.
Next up, we get a really quick scene where we see Dr. Girardi looking at a holotape of her and Bruce Maddox. So we find out that they were in a relationship and that he likes to bake cookies. So nothing really to pull from that, but a very interesting scene that gave us some insight into what's going to happen here in the rest of the episode. Then we get the whole crew on the bridge, and they arrive at Free Cloud, and all of a sudden they get hit with a whole bunch of advertising, holotapes or holograms, whatever you want to call them, and they're very targeted towards each member of the crew, which I thought was kind of cool. But we do see that Elnor doesn't get any, and he seems very disappointed by it, which I thought was funny. Do you guys think that meant anything?
I think that it kind of showed that he was pure of heart, and wasn't susceptible to, I guess, emotional or psychological desires. You know what I mean? So it's always like the Picard had the getaway where he kind of wants to just kind of escape, and you had the addiction from Raffi. You had the what was it, like the, hey, he's obsessed with his ship for the captain, and but Elnor had nothing. He was just there to, he's pure.
Yeah, I think it was showing that they didn't have any kind of record on him, where everyone else was already in the systems, and that's where they pull advertising even for us now. We're based off of things that we've Googled and places we've went if we allow tracking and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of what they were showing. Which I thought it was really well done. I like that scene. And then the bridge crew there, they kind of formulate their little plan about how they're going to go about basically rescuing Maddox, getting past all the security, and Seven basically says, I'm your Huckleberry. You're going to send me in there. I'm going to be the bait. And so we get a plan formed, and we see them getting dressed up and ready to go down. And I thought it was pretty cool. I liked Rios the best by far. And Rios is the first one down, and he lands in Free Cloud, or beams down, into Free Cloud. And it looks very much like Vegas almost. Neon lights, advertising, everything going on. A couple really cool things there. When he beams down, he's right in front of Quark's bar, which I thought was a cool touch. And we also get another reference to Quark later on when he's inside talking to the reptilian guy. He references, well, you've got good rapport from Quark from Ferengar. He says you did a good job handling the Breen. So I thought that was a really cool touch where we get two references to Quark. So I think he's pretty relevant. What did you guys think?
I would have loved to have seen him in this episode as just been a short cameo. That would have been so awesome to see him. If they maybe went into one of Quark's bars or something, I thought that'd have been great. But we didn't see it. But we had the reference, which was nice.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it seems like Free Cloud would have been like the perfect place for Quark. That would have been cool.
All right, and then we finally get to find out what Raffi was wanting to do on Free Cloud. She has a son there named Gabriel Wong, and she's going to try to reconnect with him and mend some old ties. But it doesn't go so well. She beams down, and he's obviously, him and his either wife or significant other, whatever they are pregnant, and that's where they're at. And he's in the waiting room. And that's when Raffi approaches, and they have a very interesting conversation where we learn that, she was not the best parent, and he tells us why. So he says her crackpot theories on the synth attack on Mars, and a conclave of 8 is mentioned, which I think is very interesting. I think is going to play a big part here into what's going on here soon. But I thought it was very cool. I thought the actor did a great job, really. And we learned a lot about why Raffi is Raffi, I think. What happened, and everything there I thought was a really powerful scene.
Yeah, she's definitely lived some life. I mean, she's had it rough from what it sounds like. She lost her kid. They kind of alluded to the fact that she lost her husband too, all because of her obsession with what happened with the synths. And then afterwards, just her world came toppling down. This is going to be interesting to watch her character continue to flesh out.
Right. You got to wonder how she was in Starfleet, and how, if this kid is 18 years old or younger, or whatever, how that kind of that breakup with Starfleet, or her firing or whatever, as she said earlier, you got to wonder how that played into the relationship she had with her kid.
Right.
And this just kind of opened that door a little bit, and how her obsessed with the conspiracy and uncovering the truth, and how right she's gonna be.
I tried to see if there was any Wongs in Starfleet. That could be her husband. I didn't come up with much. I don't really think that was any important reference there.
Right, but two Wongs do make a right.
I'm going to give you a high five for that one because it needed to be done, but
all right, so next up we get the actual trade scene.
You got to wonder if her husband's first name is something Wong.
No, you didn't have to describe it. I got
it. So they're prepping, and I want to talk about this a little bit. I want to talk about how they're kind of prepping for this mission, and how it's kind of going back and forth between how he's going, like not Raffi, but how we're bouncing back and forth between them being on the planet and starting the mission, and then they're jumping back to them actually prepping for the mission. And how the main scene I want to talk about is when Picard has the eye patch down, and he's starting to act like an old man, and like a mean old man. And I just, wow, I could just really see Picard being like a actual villain, like an old horror movie. And I thought, man, that was really cool. I enjoyed seeing Picard, or Patrick Stewart, as somebody else, and I thought that was great. And as I said in the last episode, I was really kind of not looking forward to this one, where they're dressing up or whatever. I thoroughly enjoyed this part of this episode. It was much better with how they were prepping the mission. I really felt like I was kind of watching a caper, where they were like Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 12 or something like that, and it was really good. I love the planning. I love the back and forth.
I thought they did a good job with it too. I thought Rios played his character really well. I thought Eleanor was a little awkward. I think that's what they were intending to do. So I think it worked. So when they're in the scene and Seven's down there, and they're basically trading Seven for Maddox, Bezazzle has a little bit of a history with Seven, we find out. And, she basically posed as someone who was trying to help the Rangers, and ended up being the opposite. And Seven is the one that told her about Icheb, and obviously ended in his demise. So some interesting back and forth there. And I really felt like, I know you guys are going to say I always say this, but I really felt like they had maybe a romantic relationship. What'd you guys think?
I don't know. I think that's harvesting a little bit more than is probably there. I think there may have been some other type of deceit. Like Seven might have been how do I put this? I think Bazazzle or whatever her name was, I think probably tricked Seven of Nine into revealing who more of the Borg drones were, kind of all leading up until to Icheb and that betrayal sort of thing. I think that's probably where some of that emotion came from. I don't know that there was like a romantic like tie-in.
I don't know. I kind of felt like it was alluded. Was it? See, I don't know if it was specifically really said or not, because they talk about their personal relationship, and I don't know if they were just talking about the close friendship they were able to develop or something more. And I wonder if that's why she had such a strong hatred for her, because not only what she did to her quote unquote son, but what she did to her from an emotional level, of the distrust that she caused between him. With, she trusted her with everything she's worth, and she betrayed her, number one, but also betrayed that trust from an emotional level too.
Right. So then we get Seven breaking loose from her shackles, which we knew was going to happen because they, preluded to that in the ship. And she puts the old chokehold, a little bit better than chokehold we've seen a couple episodes ago that Narek got from his sister, if you ask me. Maybe it's the Borg implants that made it look a little more menacing. I don't know. But anyways, she puts a chokehold on Bazazzle, and Bazazzle tells everybody to drop their weapons because she knows Seven of Nine is serious. And then we get this really cool scene, which I thought was super well played by Rios. He basically talks her out of it, saying that he didn't care if Seven killed them, but the kid in Picard, the kid and old man, I think is how he worded it, would have a hard time surviving being wanted, which I thought was kind of weird because I honestly think they would be fine. But anyways, he does a couple things. Not only does he kill our reptilian friend, which was disappointing because I really wanted to see what that guy could do, and he really did nothing. But he kills the reptilian guy, and then when he's walking over there talking to Seven, he tosses the transport enhancer or pattern. He tosses the pattern enhancer in the air to make sure that Seven sees it. I think he was basically telling Seven, let's all get out of here right now, and then I'm going to give you this pattern enhancer, and you can come back and kill her, which is exactly what happens. And I thought that was really well played because the first time I watched it, I didn't catch that part.
I didn't catch that either.
I didn't either. The second time, though, I did. And I was like, he is telling her how to do this. And everybody, the best way to do this without getting everybody killed or
nobody even knowing it. I mean, because I saw him stick it on the transporter console, and then I saw her take it and put it in her pocket. I'm like, did she just steal that without anybody knowing what's going on? I saw that part, but I didn't notice the beginning part. That totally makes sense now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the exact order that I noticed it. So they all beam up. We get Maddox back on the ship. We get some idea of what's going on. So Maddox is in fact the creator of Soji and Dash. And he also drops Dr. Soon. And obviously Dr. Girardi too. He mentions that, we all work together to do this. Now, I could be jumping the gun here. He could just mean, Dr. Soon's work on Data. But what if old Lore is posing as Dr. Soon? Or what if Dr. Soon is still alive? What do you guys think about this?
I think he's just referencing the work that he pulled from Data's insights that he was, because you talk about Data was going back and kind of working with Maddox a little bit, sharing his information, going to the his workshops and whatever. So, I mean, I think that he just continued on the work that Dr. Ninian Sung had originally started. I don't think it had anything to do with Dr. Sung actually still being alive or actually physically working on it, but it's just a continuation of Data's core.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. I don't know that there was much else to harvest from that other than the fact that he's referencing that the previous work of Soon that he just kind of picked up on.
I wonder what Dr. Girardi's contributions were that she regretted. And then you were right, Will. I think you called her out as a double agent, right? A couple episodes back. So I think Admiral O got to her, and because she says, I wish I didn't know what I know now. I don't know what that is. Obviously, I think that's going to be our main story crutch that we're going to get to eventually.
Well, we know O got to her because we saw that when she was sitting there in Japan, and you saw the O come up to Girardi, and excuse me, do I know you, kind of thing.
Well, yeah, but I don't think we knew that
What
she
was
turned
said?
her though, because because I think we all thought that it sparked her interest.
Oh,
Just
I
like
called that one.
you did, right? And I thought you were wrong, but yeah, you were right, man. She's having a panic attack the whole episode. We see the emergency medical hologram come in twice to check on her to see if she's okay, because she's panicking about this decision and doesn't know what to do. Any thought about maybe her being involved in as like maybe part of an android herself?
No, I feel like obviously the whole psychological thing was just her decisions on what to do with Bruce Maddox, but as far as her being, I don't think she's an man. You know what? I think is you guys think it's possible that she is an android and she was the first of his like creations, and he wanted to try to perfect them, but she didn't know that. Maybe she doesn't know, and maybe she's not activated yet, and the memories that she's watching is those implanted memories as well.
No, I don't think that at all. I think that what he's referencing and her part played in that is that, or her part played in that, and then her guilt in that is that she had something to do with the creation of the synths that caused the attack on Mars.
Yeah, but wouldn't she already know that? Why would O have to tell her that?
Because she may have been, siloed in one particular section of that, of the Daystrom, researching like one particular thing that turned out to be the part that bound it all together. I think O like opened her eyes to the part she played into that attack, and that she didn't realize it. That's why she said she has to, what's the word she used?
Atone.
She has to atone for something that she didn't realize that she had played as big a part as she did.
Nope. I think she is a synth herself. I'm calling this now for the end of the season as the big secret reveal that she is a synth herself, and he was her original. She was his original design, and he kind of fell in love with her based on the emotion engine and stuff that was installed and whatever. And he wanted to perfect some of the secret abilities or the espionage abilities of the drones or the synths themselves. So that's what he created the Dodge and her sister, and that's my call. And I think that O was able to activate her, and he was basically, I guess, still in shock that she was there, and he knew that if he didn't try to convince her that she was part of this, that she was the one who also come up with a solution, that he was going to kill her anyway. She knew that she was going to kill him.
I love the crazy theories, and I love that you have one now too, Will. All right, so next up we get the scene that we referenced earlier with Seven and Rios and Picard back on the ship, and Rios leaves the pattern enhancer there, obviously for 7 of 9 to grab, which she does. And then she asks Picard if she can take a couple laser rifles, which she does. And we see her beam over and vaporize the living blood pool out of Bajazil, which I thought was awesome. Something you would not normally see in Trek. A character who would normally take the high ground and then, it leaves that way. It doesn't happen. We see Seven has changed, and we see her do something that I don't think any of us really expected, did we?
Not so much. I think we kind of alluded to the fact when Picard, this is a key scene in my opinion, that when she's about to leave, she's talking to Picard, and she asks him about his humanity, whether he feels like he's got all of it back, and he goes, no, but we're working on it. So when she leaves, he's kind of thinking, okay, she's doing the right thing, we're working on her humanity. And then when she leaves, she's thinking, well, I am working on my humanity, that's why I'm going to take her out, because of my humanity. And two different perspectives for the same token of a coin, or same side of a coin. And then when she just blew her out of the sky, and then when she was leaving and the second wave of security's coming in, she just blasting her way out, just walking and just gunning and not even like dodging anything. Just it was so awesome of a scene. I loved it.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, I don't know that I was surprised or shocked by anything that happened. I think I kind of saw it coming just based with the read of the episode, but it was great.
Well, I think Eric was right though when you say that we don't really see that in Star Trek. As far as we see a lot of times these people taking the high ground, and you never see them go back and actually finish it off. And like I said, I never caught on to that transponder thing that Rios flipped up in the air, 479, and I knew she took it, but I honestly just thought it was hers. And that's how I thought maybe she had gotten to where she was and everything. But now seeing that scene, man, I can now see how that could be alluded to for that you're not surprised for it, Brad.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. It was exactly what I wanted to happen because they vilified that chick very well, and I don't think anybody I don't think anybody's going to miss her, basically. I thought it was great. 7-9 kicking butt. Gotta love that. Next scene, we are back with Dr. Maddox and Dr. Girardi, and this is when we basically learned that, she is a double agent and she kills Maddox, not before he says one thing that we missed earlier that I found very interesting because Dr. Maddox is constantly referencing the Tal Shiar and not the super secret Tal Shiar that we've heard referenced earlier. The Zot Vash is never mentioned. He always mentions the Tal Shiar. So what do you think is going on there? Does he not know about them? Or are they all the same? And we just kind of got a reference to the ancient version of them.
I think they're all the same, but I think you have to be Tal Shiar to be Zot Vash, but you don't have to be Zot Vash to be Tal Shiar. Does that make sense? Like the Zot Vash are kind of like the upper echelon of the Tal Shiar.
I almost wish they wouldn't have double name dropped them then, because it's a little bit confusing.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with that.
So here's the thing is I thought the Zot Vash were an ancient and secret Romulan cabal, right? You follow me?
More cabal than
right. But what if the Zot Vash have a little bit more to play with you talk about them controlling this Borg cube, because remember how he can go in and out of this Borg cube wherever he wants, and Vash even mentioned that, right? Is that her name, Vash?
Soji
mentioned that he can go just anywhere in and out of that Borg as he wants to, and he doesn't need rank and tag and name and whatever. So what if it has a little bit more to do with the Borg than we know so far? What if the Zot Vash have a little bit more in depth with the Borg as a species than we think?
No, I don't know that anything in the Alpha Quadrant had anything to do with the creation of the Borg. I think that's way too meta and way too deep for that to be a part of this.
Well, he mentions them, and he thinks them and the Federation are both conspiring together to hide something big. What that is, I don't know. I mean, I think it's got to be obviously bigger than the Borg, but it's something big, and Dr. Girardi kills him, and we get... I'm really anxious to see what's going to happen next episode. Are they going to know that Girardi did that? Is the emergency medical hologram going to is she going to wipe the memory, or is he going to be able to report back what happened? I'm anxious to see what's going to happen there. Is Dr. Girardi going to confess, possibly, or hide it all and try to say that he just died? Is she going to beam off the ship? She wasn't in any of the preview scenes for next episode, so I'm kind of curious what's going to happen there. Do you guys have any theories on that?
I think she's going to fess up to it pretty quickly. I don't know that there's any way that she can hide what she did or hide what happened, but I bet she'll have a pretty solid description as to why she did it. So with that regard, I think she's going to bring up the conversation she had with O, and kind of, I guess, pin whatever she did, whatever O said to get her into this as the reason why she got rid of Maddox. So that's my thought.
Yeah, I think we're going to find out a little bit more about what's going on with O, as far as like what was O told her.
I think we're going to get a lot more next episode because the preview for it showed us a ton of cool scenes. So we also got one more scene before we move on with Picard talking to Rios about going to the cube. And Rios says, well, it's going to double my fee. And I thought that was a really cool scene. I like that. I like the relationship that him and Rios are building together. So in the preview for next week, we see them arriving at the cube. We see a quick scene of Soji getting trapped by Narek, and it looks like almost a puzzle room, but it looks like something has activated her because she's just punching the floor for a second. So I think that Narek is going to finally trap her, and then they're going to activate her. And then we get a really quick glimpse, if you guys may have missed this, of Picard. It looks like he has a flashback memory of him as a Borg. And so I think that's going to come into effect here. And then if you watch the other trailer that came after the Ready Room that they played for this episode, seen Soji having a memory of her childhood and her walking in on her father in what looked like a botany area or something. But we talked about this earlier. We couldn't tell if that was Maddox that was supposed to be her dad or someone else. I don't really know how that's going to factor in because, as we talked about earlier, at least I thought that all of her memories were fake. And this seems to be her reliving a memory, which she could be remembering a fake memory. Who knows? I thought it looked really interesting. I can't wait for this next episode.
A lot of action, a lot of answers, hopefully. And finally, maybe Soji and Picard get together.
I think my thoughts are that we're going to get a few answers and a lot more questions. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm expecting that we're gonna want a lot more out of the next episode. I mean, we're halfway through the season already, and I feel like we're just getting off to the start.
Speaking of being halfway through the season, you're right. We're at the halfway mark. There's 5 more episodes left. What are your guys' thoughts so far in the mid-season? What's your favorite character? What's your favorite episode? How do you feel that they're taking the direction of Picard? Do you like it?
You can leave that long in there. I'm not ready to say any of that yet. I don't know that I have a favorite character or episode. I am still enjoying the show, but I don't know that I'm ready to say that I completely. I don't know. There's a lot that I think I still want to figure out before I answer any of those questions. I'm still on board and I'm still enjoying it a lot, and I'll answer those questions at the end of the season.
You know, Brad, I kind of agree with you. I don't really know what to think of it so far because I really don't feel an emotional attachment to any of the characters. I don't really feel like any of them have earned their keep yet as far as someone that's either likable or unlikable. And it's not like when you've watched 9 seasons of The Next Generation or 6 seasons of Deep Space Nine where you get to appreciate who a character is through all that they've done through the entire show, up to a point. We're only in, episode 5, and I don't really feel like they've done an amazing job of character development enough for me to say I have a favorite character. What I do enjoy about the show so far is it really feels like a one long continuation story, obviously, where instead of an episodic show, what we've used to be seeing in like The Next Generation and the original series, you've got one long continuous story, and obviously that's how TV's done now. But that's the one thing I can say I do enjoy about it is we're getting one long movie almost, and I'm enjoying the quality. I'm enjoying the graphics, the story. I wish there was a little bit more character development.
I think you're right, but that it's going to take time for that character development. I can't think of any show where I watched 5 episodes and that I felt like I knew a character. Which, so you're right on with your point there.
And that's my point with what Brad was saying. It's hard to really say one way or another.
Not for me, man. My favorite's Rios by far. I think he's an awesome character. I love the mystery behind him. I love what's going on. I love the way he acts. I think the acting in the show is fantastic. There isn't one actor that I haven't really enjoyed. My least favorite might be like Narek, I guess. And his character's not bad. Him and his sister's weird dynamic, though. I'm not a huge fan of that yet, but maybe that'll play out and we'll understand it more later on. As far as reoccurring roles, I think they did a fantastic job. I love 7 of 9. I have loved everything that 7 of 9 has done in the last episode. She knocked it out of the park. One thing I didn't mention is she gave Picard her calling card there, and so I really hope that means that we're going to see her again, and hopefully a lot more again.
Well, where's Riker? Where's Troy?
That was the next point I was going to get to. So we're going to the cube, and I kind of thought that was going to be the end of the season, them getting to the cube and getting the mystery found. But apparently something else is going to go on here. So I'm really interested to see what Riker and Deanna, what role they're going to play. What does Riker need, or what does Picard need from Riker at that point? He's already reached the cube, and I mean, we're going to assume he rescues Soji. I mean, but who knows?
What if it's the cliffhanger to season 2?
Man, I would not.
Shock me at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, from watching before the series started, I would have told you I was going to be in the first episode.
Right, absolutely.
But,
I was
but
figuring it was going to be how they get the ship, and I thought he was going to be calling it a favor to Riker.
Right, like that all makes perfect sense. So yeah, it might be the cliffhanger. I mean, and we don't really know what Picard needs next. All right, everybody, that has been our coverage of Star Trek Picard, episode titled Stardust City Rag. Thanks for checking out our podcast. Make sure you check out all of our other content on maturemindedgamers.com.